Hello, this is your daily tarot reading for Saturday, September 5th, 2020. Our first card for today is the Eight of Cups. Now, the cups are traditionally associated with matters of the heart, relationships, one-on-one relationships, or things that stir us emotionally and that we care about quite a bit. This is the number 8, which in numerology is a signifier of time. Um, that's a mouthful of a word. If we look at and see how these cups are set up, it's actually a representation of both the Three of Cups card, which is a emotional satiation card, and the Five of Cups card, which is a card of loss or renewal. And so what we have here is a person who is retreating from an emotional situation that has both happiness over here and sorrows attached to it. So there's definitely some, abandonment of an emotional situation or retreating from an emotional situation that is just really intense. It causes like both extremes in regard to like maybe there was something that you really put a lot of energy to, you cared a lot about, and you manifested, but it has a lot alongside of it that also has a lot of pain associated with it too, or it's like it's not all that it was cut out to be, so the emotional ideals are being reconsidered if they can actually be actualized. And so this person is abandoning their emotional ideals. They're kind of going off into a retreat of sorts, so to speak, after they've seen how time has affected this situation. The second card that we have today is the Ace of Swords. So there's some kind of communication that will bring in some kind of clarity around that situation that that has been kind of a lot for us to carry. And so there's clarity, there's a new sense of thinking about it and seeing things in a new light. And the third card that we have for today is Temperance. And Temperance is a major arcana card. It does speak to a life situation or something that we're dealing with or learning to work towards. This card is associated with Sagittarius energy, which is ruled by Jupiter. And so it's and numerologically, right, being the 14th major arcana, it reduces to number 5 in numerology, which is a number that signifies time and the passage of time and learning and teaching and ultimately healing as well. The character in this card is Archangel Michael, or so it is said to be, and it's said to represent, who brings clarity to a situation. You can see that they have one foot on land, one foot in water, and also they have two cups that are kind of pouring at an angle that's not normal. So it definitely is a card of influence and help, having a greater ability toward alchemy and being able to use two opposing forces. In this card specifically speaking to fire and water, to actually work together to create something greater. So when we consider the two elements, fire and water, they do traditionally put each other out, right? Water puts out fire. When they learn to work together, fire can heat up water and create steam and create and cook food and create knowledge and create understanding and distillation of water from the ocean. It creates rain, right? So this is that alchemy, that distillation of help and greater forces in the universe. And so it's important to realize that while we can have some attachment to things and how things would work out, that ultimately, things are working out dependent on you know, how we see them, we are calling in different energies and different things into our lives, and to flow with it and realize that there is a greater help and a greater alchemy out there in our lives and in the universe itself that is currently happening, and that we don't necessarily get to have total control over. And, you know, I do have a story in my life that I'd like to share about that, but it would go into a lot of time right now. So I'll share that later as just like a story on YouTube. How, you know, following an idea and not really knowing how it's going to manifest, but knowing that it will and looking forward to seeing how it manifests can actually call a great deal of help into your life that will show up in some pretty mysterious and magical ways. And ultimately, what's calling us to manifest that thing may not even be what actualizes out of it. Something far more greater than we could ever even conceive of could actualize out of us just following that idea and believing and seeing that it can happen despite what is around us that may be limiting, you know, seeing bigger and greater than our environment and surroundings. And it's important to consider that where we put our energy and where we put our time does manifest things, but that there is ultimately help all around us that's coming in depending on how we actualize that energy. Have you ever stood outside and looked at the air like right around dusk and just looked at the environment around you while you're standing outside and been able to see that pixelated energy? It looks like a really, really subtle veil of like tiny, tiny, tiny dots of like red and blue and yellow. And they're just like, it's almost like this subtle buzz. And it's this theory of mine that when we put our energy and our voice out into the world in prayer and in how we speak and how we speak to ourselves and how we speak out loud, especially, that we basically are turning that energy that's buzzing around us all the time into matter. And so it's really powerful to be aware of how we speak about what we want to manifest, and realizing that while we may not exactly see how things are going to be, that we look forward to seeing how things are going to manifest, you know? And I'll share more about a story of mine about that later on YouTube. But for now, I hope you have a lovely Saturday, and I will see you again soon.